Good morning. I hope you're good. So today we're going to do cell biology, but before that, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Gloria Ongus, and I'll be teaching you biology. Our topic is going to be cell biology. We're going to major in cells. So I'll be giving you questions and answers and clarify where necessary, and if you have any question, you can send them to us. So we're going to start from the cell biology, and I'm going to give you a rough diagram of a cell and what it looks like. Those are the things that we're going to talk about in this lesson. So we're going to start from the cell. It is projected on our screens, and I hope you're able to see where the endoplasmic reticulum is. You're seeing the endoplasmic reticulum. We will talk about its functions, and we are also seeing nucleolus. And just going back to the endoplasmic reticulum, we have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not have ribosomes. The ribosomes are the pimple-like structures on the surfaces of the endoplasmic reticulum. And we also have the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum have the ribosomes on its surface, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum do not have the ribosomes on the surface. We are seeing nucleolus, and we also have the chromatin and the nuclear pore. Just to clarify what I've said about the endoplasmic reticulum, it looks like this. I'm not so good at drawing. So this could be this is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum have ribosomes. So these are what we call the ribosomes. And this is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. This is the rough. So they both have different functions that we will talk about later in our class as we continue. So let us start with the first question as we're going to the next slide. Let us talk about the first question. The first question is asking, which structure is the location where proteins are made in the cell? Which structure is the location where proteins are made in the cell? It is the ribosome. And this ribosome, that is where it is the site for protein synthesis. It is the site for protein synthesis. If you have not understood that well and maybe you need more explanations, you can just contact us directly. So that is the first question. And the second question in the next slide is, which structure do not have an external membrane component? Which structures do not have external membrane component? There are more than one structure. The first structure is the cytoskeleton, and the cytoskeleton is a complex dynamic network of interlinking protein filaments present in the cytoplasm of a cell. We will give you the structure of the cytoskeleton in case you don't have it in mind. The second one is the ribosome. The ribosome do not have the nuclear membrane. It does not have the external membrane. We also have the nucleolus and the cell wall. I'm going to give you the structure of a cytoskeleton, what it looks like, so that you can have it in your mind. The next slide has the structure of a cytoskeleton. As we project it, we are seeing the cytoskeleton within the cytoplasm of a cell. I hope you're able to figure where it is. It is like they're like fibers within the cytoplasm. As you can see it, that is the cytoskeleton, and it performs all those functions. I hope you can see where it is. So that was just to show you what cytoskeleton looks like in case you didn't know it. And I'm going to the next question. Forgive me if I'm going too fast, but we have a lot of them. Okay, the next question in the next slide asks us, which structures regulate what enter and what leaves the cell? Which structure regulates what enters and what leaves the cell? And the answer is the plasma membrane. It is also known as the cell membrane, and its function it separates the interior of the cell from the outside environment. It separates the interior of the cell from the outside environment. As you all know, the cell membrane is immediately after the cell wall, and it separates the inner part of the cell from the outside environment. It regulates what enters the cell and what gets out of the cell. The question is just a summary of what we really need to know in biology and in cells, in summary. Even if you write these questions, you will find that it will help you with your revision at home. I hope you're taking notes. We're going to the next slide, to the next question. The next question is asking, what is the small membrane sac which can form from the endoplasmic reticulum or from the Golgi body? What is the small membrane sac which can form from the endoplasmic reticulum or from the Golgi body? What we know, it is the vesicle, and what you need to know about the vesicle, it forms from the membrane sac, from the endoplasmic reticulum and from the Golgi body. Its function, it transports and stores substances within a cell from one cell to the other. It transports and stores substances within a cell and from the others, and it also have a lipid layer. Which separates the contents of the vesicle from the rest of the cell. I'm going to give you the structure of the vesicle, which is in the next slide. Just to show you what vesicle looks like, it is in the next slide. That is the vesicle. It can form from the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi body, and we have seen its function. So in case you didn't know what a vesicle looks like, there it is in your screen. We are going to the next question. That is saying, what is the large fluid-filled central structure found in the middle of a plant cell that stores a variety of materials? Which is the large fluid-filled central structure found in the middle of a plant cell that stores variety of materials? That is the central vacuole. The central vacuole, its function is to maintain the proper pressure within the plant to provide structure and support for growing plants, and it also stores food. What you should know, what you have to know about the central vacuole is that it is the largest. In a plant cell, it is the central, and it is very large, and it gives support, and it just performs more than one function in a plant cell. I'm going to the next question, but before I go to the next question, I want to show you what a central vacuole looks like in a plant cell. In our next slide, you're seeing what a central vacuole is, and when you are keen enough, you are seeing that it is the largest. It is the largest in a plant cell. The largest structure there, that is the central vacuole, and it gives stability to the plant cell. I'm going to the next question in our next slide. The next question says that the plastid that captures light energy and manufactures food. The plastid that captures light energy and manufactures food. We all know what manufactures food in a green plant, and it captures light, and that is the chloroplast. Chloroplast is green in color, if you must know. And in our next slide, I'm just going to show you what a chloroplast looks like, and the organelles within the chloroplast. In our next slide, are you seeing there? We have the structure of the chloroplast. The whole of that is the chloroplast. It has organelles. When you look keenly, and all these organelles within the chloroplast, they have their own functions that we will not talk about today. Just to mention a few, we are seeing the lamella. When it is one, it is lamella. But when there are two, they are called the lamellae. But when it is one, it is called the lamella. I hope you are together. So we are seeing the lamella there, and we also have the ribosome. We also have the stroma. We have the stroma, And the stroma is the liquid part of the ribosome. It helps in the maintaining of all these organelles. I'm seeing, okay, we also have granule, starch granule. We have the granum. We also have the drop of lipid. The lipid droplets are almost found in all organelles. So we have the drop of liquid. Finally, we have the inner membrane, the outer membrane, and the intermembrane space, if you must know. So just to note it, the chloroplast is the green structure that attracts light, that traps light, that helps in the manufacturing of food in plants. Thank you. I'm going to the next question in our next slide. The next question in our next slide is asking the organelle associated with energy release. The organelle associated with energy release in the cell is the mitochondrion. Mitochondrion is known for its energy release in a plant. And just to show you what a mitochondrion looks like in our next slide, this is the structure of mitochondrion. As you can see, the mitochondrion, it has some parts also. It's an organelle that has parts. And the first part that I'm seeing is the matrix. I'm also seeing crystal. When it is one, when the arrow points at one, it is crystal. But when the arrow points at two, it is called the cristae. And then we have the outer membrane, the inner membrane, and the intermembrane space. So the mitochondrion releases energy to the cell and gives the cell its energy. Okay, our next question is what organelle is associated with digestion of materials inside the cell? What organelle is associated with digestion of materials inside the cell? And that is the lysosome. Just to give you the picture of lysosome, it is just immediately under that place. We're seeing the lysosome. The lysosome has this structure, and it is projecting on your screen. Someone might confuse between lysosome and vesicle. Sorry, someone might confuse vesicle and lysosome, but the difference is the lysosome has some pimple-like things inside it, just as shown on the screen there. You can see it well, and you can note the differences. I'm going to the next question. In our next slide. It says, which cell part is responsible for moving other cell parts? Which cell part is responsible for moving other cell parts? And that is the cytoskeleton. As earlier, you saw the structure of the cytoskeleton. It was like it had if you can just go to the structure of the cytoskeleton back, so that you see how it moves organelles, other cell parts. It will be projected in your screen shortly. The cytoskeleton, it is slide number 5. In our slide number, we will see the cytoskeleton, just the structure of it and how it is able to move some cell organelles within the plants. And yes, if you can see, I hope you're seeing the structure of the cytoskeleton, the way it is made. It is fiber-like. It is able to move other cell plants just the way it is structured. Okay. Okay, thank you. I hope you've seen it well. And how it is able to move other cell organelles inside the cell. Our next question Our next question is what structure is involved in the initial rooting and modification of newly formed proteins and in the formation of lipids? Which structure is involved in initial rooting and modification of newly formed proteins? Thank you. You're seeing the question on the screen. What structure is involved in the initial rooting and modification of newly formed proteins and in the formation of lipids? And that structure is the endoplasmic reticulum. That structure is the endoplasmic reticulum. We all know the function of the endoplasmic reticulum, and we said that endoplasmic reticulum aids in the formation of lipids, while the ribosomes were aiding in the synthesis of proteins. Our next question in the next slide is asking about a structure that directs and coordinates all cellular activities, and it is the nucleolus. Just to go back in what we have learned previously in our classes, we all know that the nucleus is like the unit to life. It coordinates all the activities in the cell. When you see the nucleolus, every plant has to have nucleolus for it to have life. And nucleolus coordinates all the activities that happens in a cell. It plays a role to the cell response and stress. Thank you. We're going to the next slide that asks about an organelle that allows the movement of molecules because it contains protein channels. Which organelle can allow the movement of molecules because it contains protein channels? And that is the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is also called the cell membrane. The cell membrane contains protein channels, and that is why it is able to aid in the movement of molecules from the cell and outside. We're going to the next question, and it asks about the ribosomes on the surface of this organelle allows newly formed proteins to enter and initiate the process. And when we are starting our lesson, we said that we have the endoplasmic reticulum. We have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and we also have the rough endoplasmic reticulum. And this rough endoplasmic reticulum, it has ribosomes on its surface, and the ribosomes aids in the protein synthesis. So this question was so direct. It is asking, it has ribosomes on the surface and allows newly formed proteins to enter, initiate the process. And the answer is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. I'm going to the next question, if you let me. In our next slide, the question is, this structure appears green because it contains chlorophyll, a green pigment. This structure appears to be green because it contains chlorophyll, a green pigment. So this is the structure that we've talked about earlier. It is the chloroplast. And as you all can remember, I gave you the structure of a chloroplast, and we said that it is a green structure in the plant. It gives the plant its color, and then it is green. So it is the chloroplast that helps in manufacturing of food, and it gives the plants its green structure. So that only means that the chloroplast is not found in non-green plants. It is found in only green plants. I'm going to the next question in our next slide, and the next question is, a loose arrangement of cellulose fibers and other components give this structure the ability to allow most molecules access of the rest of the cell. A loose arrangement of cellulose fibers and other components give this structure the ability to allow most molecules access the rest of the cell. And it is the cell wall. The cell wall is only found in plant cells. the animal cells do not have the cell wall. And even as you read the question, you realize that the cell wall has a loose arrangement of cellulose fibers and other components. And it has another function of the cell wall is that it gives the plant the rigidity. It gives the plant the rigidity, and it makes the plant rigid and stable. I'm going to the next question in the next slide. The next question is asking, these structures transfer molecules from Golgi bodies out to the plasma membrane, where the molecules can leave the cell. These structures transfer molecules from Golgi bodies out to the plasma membrane, where the molecules can leave the cell. And the answer is vesicles. I had earlier given you the structure of the vesicle, and I'm grateful that you know what it looks like. So the vesicle, its main function is a structure that transfers molecules from Golgi bodies out to the plasma membrane, where molecules can leave the cell. We are going to almost our last question, and it says, the special sac that stores digestive enzymes and may fuse with vesicles containing food to digest the food. The special sac that stores digestive enzymes and may fuse with vesicles containing food to digest the food. And the answer is lysosome. Just to give you the functions of the lysosome, the lysosomes are also called the garbage disposals of the cells. They remove waste from the cells and digest the food. So that is the function of the lysosome. They are called, in a summary, just in a nutshell, you can say that the lysosome are garbage disposal for the cell. That means that all the waste products are transferred out of the cell by the lysosome. All the garbage, everything, all the waste products that may harm the cell are removed by the lysosome. Okay, so that comes to the end of my questions for today. And we just thought of giving you some of the basic questions that may occur today and any other day in our biology. And we were talking about the cell in particular. The cell, that was our topic, and we gathered a few questions. If you have any question on cells, you can contact us and ask them, and we will answer, and we'll give you the answers. So the questions were from Form 1 to Form 4. And these questions, if you have any question as a Form 4 and candidates, you just go through them and you contact us. We will give you the answers. And as our candidates, we do know that you are planning to have your exams, maybe God willing, by the end of this, when this pandemic ends. And I will just like to advise the candidates just to continue reading at home and revise, because we might resume back to our schools anytime soon, sooner than maybe we expect. So just continue reading and doing the revision. We will come back with more topics and maybe more notes on biology, maybe next week probably. So thank you for listening and for following the program. And let's meet next time, God willing, and let's continue reading and revising. Thank you all, and have a nice day.